And Nigeria's former Vice President, Dr. Alex Ekweme, has died in a London hospital at about 10 p.m. last Sunday, 19th of November. The late former Vice President was flown to London for medical treatment after he was reported to have suffered a chest infection, which left him in a coma in a hospital for 2 weeks. He was born October 21, 1932. Data feeds are still coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can follow us right now on m.channelstv.com and on Facebook as well. We've got all our platforms and social media covered. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation to air your thoughts on the subject. In the meantime, the governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, says that he is confident that his party, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, will win elections in other southeast states in 2019 in response to the fact that he is the only governor from APGA. He said that he was not under any pressure whatsoever. Rather, his re-election would have a ripple effect in helping the party gain more prominence. In his words, a permanganate effect, he says, across the rest of the southeast. Will this become the true rise of a party from the east or not? How has the re-election of Obiano changed the electoral matrix for the region going into 2019, having won 21 of 21 local governments in Anambra? The candidate of the United Progressives Party, the UPP, at the Anambra governorship elections, Osita Chidoka, has given his declaration concerning the November 19 election, saying that the party will retreat for now, but will not surrender. He said that although the elections was characterized by flaws and it has become and gone, it will be on record that the UPP engaged in the political process and will remain engaged. Does the UPP have what it takes to win the governorship elections on the heels of an alleged financial firepower against the incumbent who has been returned? We'll focus on this on the show. It's prime time in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. Right behind me, data feeds are still coming through on all our social media platforms in one place simultaneously. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation. The Anambra state elections have been won and indeed lost. The incumbent, Willie Obiano, has returned, being elected for another 4-year term in Anambra State. Though to be, of course, that state is thought to be one of the most influential states in the East. So much so, it molds the very fabric of political advancement in the region. Now, how much more can be drawn from the lessons for other elections for INEC? Samson Itodo is an observer of the just concluded Anambra elections. He joins me via Skype. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on the show at this time. You have watched the political space in Anambra State between the people, the candidate and the umpire, INEC. What's your assessment of the process so far?
I think that we, who are participants and observers in this process, are quite impressed.
Yes, please go ahead. I can hear you.
The level of basic distinctions. First, let's look at the political parties. If you look at the pre-election environment, the candidate selection process was largely peaceful. Unlike previous electoral circles or electoral activities that is always fraught with numerous litigations arising from undemocratic party primaries that evolve with candidates that do not enjoy the acceptance of party members. But what we have seen is an era where virtually all the parties had successful party primaries and there were no form of litigation, apart from 2 cases which INEC had hinted that when all the parties, the 37 parties actually submitted their candidates, only 2 parties actually substituted the names of the candidates. And I think this is a total departure from the usual norm, because in 2013 we had several litigations and court judgments. The second is the preparation of the Electoral Commission. INEC had announced or issued a notice of election from February this year, and so they had sufficient time to plan for the election. They had sufficient time to conduct voter registration as well as distributing PVCs, and to a large extent that perhaps is responsible for the success that it has recorded in this election, although there were some challenges that were recorded in this election. And first, let's look at election logistics. And we've had the view that perhaps the Electoral Commission needs to conduct an at 7:30 a.m. on time. Only about 28% of polling stations recorded early arrival of electoral officials based on the watching the vote data. And that was not the case in Ondo. That was not the case in other elections the Electoral Commission had conducted. We observed the deployment of the materials from the central bank on Thursday down to the INEC headquarters in Oka. The sensitive materials, the ballot papers and the result sheets arrived at the INEC headquarters on Thursday by 11:30 a.m. And that was when the distribution and the deployment actually commenced. The last deployment on Thursday was to Anyocha local government, and it was around 7:05 p.m. So all the materials had left the INEC headquarters and went to the local government. Then how come in places like Obaru, how come in places like Anyocha, how come in places like Orumba North, we still recorded late arrival at some polling units? Could it be internal sabotage within the Electoral Commission, or the Electoral Commission didn't get the needed cooperation it required from the police to deploy election materials down to the polling station? The second critical issue, and which is a lesson from this, is actually the commitment of the part of the Electoral Commission to electoral integrity. And we need to underscore the fact that for us at Watching the Vote, what we did was to verify the results. And the result as declared by INEC is a true reflection of what happened at the polling units. In other words, what the result declared is a reflection of the votes cast at the polling unit. And I give you the reasons why. First, for Watching the Vote, we deployed 500 observers, stationary observers, to 250 sample polling units across the 21 local governments of the state. And these observers actually were stationary at the polling units, and they sent in reports on the setup, accreditation, and the results.